You have a mic that you push when the green light's on. It's hot. Most people just leave it on when the meeting starts, but you're welcome to.
Okay, that's the problem. Too far from the lips. Okay. Good morning. It's 9 o'clock. This is the Citizens Advisory Board to the Oklahoma County Criminal Justice Authority. And the first item on our agenda is a roll call of this new board.
Chris Steele,
Here.
June Elkins Baker,
Here.
Reverend Ray Douglas,
Here.
Hannah Royce, Reverend Derek Scobie,
Here.
Stephen Buck,
Present.
Leslie Nesmith,
Here.
Ryan Haney,
Here.
Eric Engelke,
Engelke, yep, here.
Thank you. It looks like we have a quorum. And now anyone who would like to participate may stand and offer the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now we will offer just a brief introduction of members. You can restate your name and perhaps who appointed you and anything that you would like to add. You're not required to add anything. Would you like to start for us, Ms. Engelke?
Happy to. Good morning. I'm Erin Engelke. I am Executive Director for Calm Waters. We are Oklahoma City's Grief Center. We specifically serve children, teens, and adults who've experienced a loss because of death, divorce, or other loss. Joe Alba is the individual who selected me in this role. Happy to be here.
I'm Ryan Haney. I'm the Criminal Justice Reform Fellow and General Counsel for the Oklahoma Council of Public Affairs, and I was asked to be here by Sheriff Johnson.
I'm Leslie Nesmith. I was appointed by Kevin Calvi, and I'm a small business owner, mother of 6, and happy to be here.
Good morning, Stephen Buck. I am serving as an appointee that was designated by Chad Alexander. My current profession is I am the president and CEO of Care Providers Oklahoma, which is a trade association. Prior to that, I served on the administrations of both Governor Kevin Stitt and Governor Mary Fallon in the role of a cabinet secretary.
Derek Scobie. I serve as the pastor of the Ebenezer Baptist Church here in Oklahoma City. And I have not met her, so I'm unable to remember her name, but I believe it's Professor Radford or something along those lines. Amen. I was appointed by her.
Ray Douglas. I serve as pastor of the Greater Mount Olive Church in Oklahoma City. Was appointed by Major Berry.
My name is June Elkins Baker, and I am employed at Jordan's Crossing, which is a residential substance abuse treatment for women and children, and I was appointed by Ben Brown.
Chris Steele. I serve as Executive Director for TEAM, the Education and Employment Ministry. Was appointed by Chairman Jim Couch, and am super excited for the opportunity to get to participate with all of you in this endeavor.
Thank you. I do want to note that we skipped the public comment portion at the first because we didn't have any members of the public here to make comment before the board. And I waited for just a few moments, I assume. Is anyone here to make public comment?
They have to sign up prior to the beginning of the meeting.
Yes. I am not a member of the board, but my name is Lynn Martin Deal, and I am counsel to the board. So the next item of business is for the members to take the loyalty oath, and Mr. Hooton will handle that for us.
If you all would stand and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma, and will faithfully discharge the duties of my office with fidelity, that I have not paid or contributed, either directly or indirectly, any money or other valuable thing to procure my nomination or election, except for necessary and proper expenses expressly authorized by law. That I have not knowingly violated any election law of the state or procured it to be done by others in my behalf. That I will not knowingly receive directly or indirectly any money or other valuable thing for the performance or non-performance of any act or duty pertaining to my office, other than the compensation allowed by law. And I further swear that I will not receive, use, or travel upon any free pass or free transportation during my term of office. Congratulations. And if everyone would just sign the oath.
Thank you, Mr. Hooton. The next item on our agenda is to discuss electing a chair and vice chair of the board with possible action as desired by the board members. This is the time to either nominate someone that you would like to put forward as chair. We'll start with the chair. Someone that you'd like to nominate, or you can place your own name forward and make any statement or discussion that you want, and then the members can discuss as well.
I would like to nominate Chris Steele for chair.
You beat me.
Would it help if I seconded?
Well, we will need someone to give a second, but is there discussion or further nominations?
Oops, the second went off.
No,
was
we
gonna
can take a
second.
All right. So do I hear your second, Ms.?
Yes,
All right,
I'm sorry.
that's all
Can
right.
turn it off.
Any further discussion, or are we ready for a vote on the chairship? I believe we can
Ready
call
for
the
a
roll.
Chris Steele.
I guess.
June Elkins Baker.
Aye.
Reverend Ray Douglas.
Aye.
Reverend Derek Scobie.
Aye.
Stephen Buck.
Aye.
Leslie Nesmith. Aye. Ryan Haney.
I guess.
Aaron Engelke.
Aye. Congratulations, Chair Steele. Are you aware that this means that I'm now handing the meeting off to you?
Oh.
Unless
why
you
no one
want
else
me to
wanted to do it.
continue, and then we can do it however
Like, well,
you
if I
like.
had known that.
Either way, why don't you continue for now?
All right. Also, under that same item, we have discussion to elect a vice chair of the Criminal Justice Authority Citizens Advisory Board. Would anyone like to put their name forward or nominate another person to serve as vice chair? And as you probably are aware, a vice chair will serve when the chair is not available or when the chair asks you to present that, serve in that function, etc. Or if something happens and the chair steps down, then you would probably lead at least until we decide.
I would like to nominate Aaron.
All right, we have one nomination.
I second that nomination.
Are there any other nominations that anyone would like to place forward? Okay. Any further discussion? So we have a nomination and a second. I think we're ready for a vote.
Chris Steele.
Aye.
June Elkins Baker.
Aye.
Reverend Ray Douglas.
Aye.
Reverend Derek Scobie.
Aye.
Stephen Buck. Aye. Leslie Nesmith.
Aye.
Ryan Haney.
Aye.
Aaron Engelke. Aye, I guess.
Motion passes. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard, Mr. Steele. Let's see. So our next item of business is item 5 on your agenda, discussion and possible action to establish the time, date, and location for the next advisory board meeting. We have presented several options. Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock appears to be a time when this room is regularly available. It's the time that it was chosen. And you have before you two options, 5A and 5B. Option 5A is for the second Wednesday of each month, and your list shows when that would mean that the meetings would occur. Option B is for the last Wednesday of each month, and the list shows when those dates would occur. Not to say that we couldn't move one of those meetings if something arises that means we need an extra or different meeting, or cancel one if there's a reason that the board wants to do that. For example, I already see that on 5B we have December 28th. That may be problematic for some folks, but it helps if we have a regular time. Generally, we're less likely to miss our meetings. important to note that these are not considered regular meetings under the law because we were required to give notice by December 15th of last year for those. So that's why they'll still say special. It's not an error, it's purposeful. So do we have any discussion or a motion for acceptance of one of the options?
We have one advisory board member who is not here today, correct? And today is fourth Wednesday, correct? Today would have been, was the fourth Wednesday an ongoing conflict, or was that a unique conflict for that individual?
I am aware of no conflicts.
Okay.
And Ms. Royce was presented the same information. Unfortunately, she was not able to be here today, and so I don't know what her preference would have been.
I would like to motion that we go with option B for my own selfish reasons.
I second that motion.
We have discussion.
Yes, we can have discussion.
I think that December 28th is going to be a problem for many.
Yes.
Now, I can be here, but I believe that will be a time where people would try to move the meeting.
Okay.
So I believe that the first option, the second Wednesday, would be a better option as we look with vision long term.
Is there
And
further
actually,
discussion?
looking at my calendar, I concur with Pastor Scobie. That second Wednesday tends to be a freer time for me for the rest of the year. I know that last Wednesday, just quick glance, I know 3 of those I wouldn't be in the city.
I was going to note that, we could just take December 28th off of the list, but if you are going to miss 3 meetings, the group might want to consider how to proceed. We could either go with A, and then I suppose you just would have to miss those meetings, or we haven't had a second yet, so we can't.
I can withdraw my motion. If that helps. I can.
Are you able?
I'm flexible. Yeah.
To make the
Yeah.
second two.
So the second Wednesdays?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to accept the second Wednesdays as our 5A as our regular schedule?
I so move.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. You may call the roll. So we're voting as to whether to accept the schedule 5A for the second Wednesday of the month for your regular or your special but regularly occurring meetings.
Chris Steele.
Aye.
June Elkins Baker.
Aye.
Reverend Ray Douglas.
Aye.
Reverend Derek Scobie.
Aye.
Stephen Buck.
Aye.
Leslie Nesmith.
Aye.
Ryan Haney.
Aye.
Erin Engelke. Aye. Motion passes for A.
Thank you. All right, we're moving on down to item 6, discussion and possible action regarding the purposes and functions of the Oklahoma County Criminal Justice Authority Citizens Advisory Board. And we have a resolution by the authority that was attached to the agenda, which roughly discusses the purpose of this board. And I believe that we have a authority member who wants to be involved in that discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't really want to be involved in that discussion. What I want to do and what I came here to do is to greet you, thank you for your willingness to serve in this capacity. I'm frankly excited. I only recently found who was on the board and the Citizen Advisory Board, and I'm very, very pleased. We have a great group of folks. You all are. You bring experience, you bring a philosophy, and so anyway, some of you I know very well, and some of you not so well. But I want to thank you and also point out that we have another trust member here. Loretta Radford is here, and she's new on the trust, not the newest one, right? Not the newest one, but she brings a wealth of experience and knowledge in the criminal justice system to the trust. Our director of the jail is here, Greg Williams. One of the best decisions the trust ever made was to hire Greg Williams. He has worked with his staff, and he's put together a great staff. But everything we're saying is in process. The jail is not as good as we want it to be, but it's better than it used to be. So we are working diligently daily to make that whole process. I mean, nobody wants to be in jail. We know that. But when people are in jail, I want people to be treated like I would want my son or my mother or my brother or my daughter to be treated. That means humanely, like a human being that they are. So that's what we want. And I just am very pleased that you all find a way to work with us, I guess, to help us figure out how to make this whole jail process better. Hopefully, we do get to build a new jail, and that'll solve a myriad of problems that are there. But we've been very lucky to make significant improvements to that building. Part of it was because of the COVID money that came from the federal government that we were allowed to repair and fix and replace some things that maybe didn't even work right in the first place. So we've made significant progress, and I want to encourage you in your own way to contact Greg, and I'd like you to go take a tour of the jail and see what we've done. Now, again, it's not perfect. I'm not claiming that, but it's better, and I think we're on the right track to make it as good as any jail can be. So thank you for your service. We welcome your participation and your input, and please, you can contact any of us trust members at any time. We'll even take you to lunch. And thank you again.
Thank you. Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown, I just want to say thank you for the remarks that you shared. And I did have a little brief visit to the Oklahoma County Detention Center in November. And I do want to publicly say that I was treated with the utmost kindness and dignity in my 46-minute stay in the Oklahoma County Detention Center.
Okay, good. Well, we'll invite you back, not to be brought in, but to walk in and walk back out. But I want some of the stuff that I'm talking about is down in the bowels of the jail that people don't see. And that's the physical part that we're trying to fix. And we're also trying to fix the human part where everybody treats everybody else, staff and arrestees alike, with dignity.
Yes.
So I'm glad for that report. I'm glad that you were.
And in response to that about treating every human with dignity, we had recently a hiring event at Ebenezer in collaboration with Greg and the jail, and it was very successful. I believe we hired 20 plus people. They said it was more than they had in recent years, but just trying our best to partner with the Oklahoma County Detention Center in order to get quality individuals in there as staff.
Well, Pastor Scobie, let me say to you, you're not one of the members that I know personally. As far as I know, this is our first time to meet. But I stand in admiration of the things that I've read about you and what you're trying to do for people in our state and in some other places to make it a better place to be. So again, I'm in your admiring group,
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Madam Chairman, may I respond to the commissioner as well, or to the jail trust member as well? Senator Brown,
Yes.
I want to say thank you. Dr. Radford, I want to say thank you. Want to affirm what you said about our leader, Greg Williams. Best of the best.
Yep.
And we are super excited to have an opportunity to work together. And I kind of see our role as being a liaison in a way to the community, to the jail trust, and to the powers that be. Just, I'm a big believer that we're all in this together. And this opportunity, this moment, as we are making progress and commit to continue to make progress, can be our shining moment as a community, as a county.
Good.
And I'm really excited about the opportunity and your leadership, and thankful for the leadership of everyone who's on the jail trust.
Yeah. Well, we work hard, and thank you, Speaker Steele. And I'll say one brief thing. My friend June Elkins Baker, I'm not going to tell you stories on her now, but if you ever want to hear, I have a myriad of stories about June.
Thank you. Well, as we continue discussion, we'll kind of go back to the resolution that the authority put forward. That states that the board is to act in an advisory role to assist the authority with regards to community relations and best practices in all aspects of the authority's functions. As you may recall from your appointing authority, you will serve a term of 3 years and thereafter until appointment of your successor. And you are eligible for reappointment. Let's see. So, that's pretty broad. If you look on the Oklahoma County Detention Center website, you will note a mission statement for this board. I encourage you to look at that, stating the purpose as potentially addressing topics like recruitment and retention of staff, relationships between the authority and the Oklahoma County community. We hope you will embrace those functions. Improvements to operations are within your purview of comment and recommendations as well, and policies and procedures of the detention center as well. Is there discussion that you all would like to continue at this point? I know we're going to be discussing this a lot, but over time. But we could continue if you have further issues you'd like to.
Do we need to adopt this resolution?
No, the resolution was adopted by the authority in your formation.
Got it.
The only thing, ours was just a discussion. We could take possible action. You could adopt the authority on behalf of the board as the recommendation of the authority. They can always change our authority, however, so I don't know if you really need to accept it. We could just agree to accept the presentation as presented. We don't have to take action if we don't need to. All right, the final item is discussion and possible action regarding creation of subcommittees, if anyone has ideas at this point. And the primary reason for item 6 was to lay out, some of your areas that you definitely have authority.
Yeah, I don't intend to be repetitive and redeliberate, but just a second ago, you walked through some very specific things listed on the website that this council advisory council was accountable to the trust for. And I think if you would repeat those as you articulated those, in my opinion, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, that provides a framework of potential subcommittee alignment, is to align with the things that the trust has outlined as our responsibilities. So if you don't mind repeating it, that may help us all frame a discussion point.
All right. The first item was recruitment and retention of staff. So that could be an area that you may want a subcommittee for. You could form it, appoint, or you could take it under advisement and think about it and come back for the next meeting. Again, we don't have to proceed, we have a possibility of taking action. I'm not trying to discourage you or encourage you, but eventually I think it will be helpful for you. That might be something that the chair and the vice chair might want to discuss or consider, ponder. Does anyone have any specific ideas at this point?
Would you read through the ones you listed just in cumulative so that we can process that?
Yes, sir. Recruitment and retention of staff is number 1. Number 2, relationships between the Oklahoma Criminal Justice Authority, and you'll hear me say OCCJA sometimes, and that's what I'm referring to, the authority, and the Oklahoma County community. 3 is improvements to the operation of the Oklahoma County Detention Center. 4, policies and procedures of the Oklahoma County Detention Center.
Thank you.
Madam Chairperson, I think that it might be a great idea for us to look through these and determine where we could serve best, and in the next meeting, everyone state what subcommittee they would be willing to serve on, and hopefully, if not, then the chair and vice chair can appoint. If we have everyone is in one box.
Okay. Mr. Douglas, is that a motion?
That could be a motion. Yes, it is.
Just for, Madam Chair, just for clarification, Pastor, I think it's an excellent idea. Is the motion to make these 4 area subcommittees today and then begin the process of populating the subcommittees at our next meeting?
Yes, let me frame it as a motion. I move that we accept these areas as our subcommittees in the next meeting, fill those subcommittees that have been formed.
We accept the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'm sorry. Just
We can have further discussion.
a point of clarification. I think it's perfect. And Mr. Buck and Pastor, thank you so much for the recommendations. I just want to be clear, there is nothing that would preclude us from potentially creating additional subcommittees at future meetings. Is that correct? Or
You're correct.
Okay.
There's nothing that would preclude you at any time that this body determines that we needed an additional subcommittee. We could always do that. You'll just have to do it through this process. Come in, put it on the agenda, make a motion and second, discuss it. Yes.
And I would assume, and I'm going to address this to Senator Trustee Brown, I would assume that it's plausible from time to time that the trust may task us as an advisory committee with specific areas of work. And so to your point, Chairman Steele, I would think that we should be very agile.
Mr. Buck, I'm sorry. It's under constraints of the Open Meeting Act. We really have to only address with outside parties what we've placed on the agenda. So that is a discussion that we could have at some time, but you are correct.
I apologize, Madam Chair. I will be much more diligent in the following of the open meeting standards.
Thank you. You are correct. You can always ask those questions of council. I'll be here even though I won't be chairing your other meetings. Yes, you could be tasked. And I will, I'll just make a statement on the record that before we take this vote, that when we're talking about the committees, I don't know each of you or how familiar you are with the open meetings laws and the open records laws, but you do need to be mindful that when you have discussions, if there's more than a few of you, you could constitute a quorum and be in violation of the Open Meetings Act. So ask your questions and we will provide you with materials so that you stay within those bounds. All right, so I think we're ready for a second, unless there's further discussion.
I'll second.
All right. Anyone want to make any further comments? All right, I believe we're ready for a roll call.
Chris Steele. June Elkins Baker.
Yes.
Reverend Ray Douglas.
Yes.
Reverend Derek Scobie.
Yes.
Stephen Buck.
Yes.
Leslie Nesmith,
Yes.
Ryan Haney,
Yes.
and Erin Engelke.
Yes. The motion passed. All right. Well, at this point, we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second.
Chris Steele,
Yes.
June Elkins Baker,
Yes.
Reverend Ray Douglas,
Yes.
Reverend Derek Scobie,
Yes.
Stephen Buck,
Yep.
Leslie Nesmith,
Yes.
Ryan Haney,
Yes.
Erin Engelke.
Yes.
Motion passes. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
That's our last